All right, let's talk about these bends. I want to get into bends that are underutilized, and really, I'm going to take a step back and say that the reason I'm even doing this video is comes from two places. One of them, it was a question submitted by a friend and a student that follows me, and he asked me a question related to this. And the second was watching some Facebook group action going on in a harmonica group, and it was interesting to see some of the responses, both related to bending on a diatonic harmonica. Let's just take this G harp and talk about it. The two notes in question that I want to talk about, well, we can get into other things too, but the big ones that stand out, and I guess there are really a lot of underutilized bends on the harmonica, but the two draw half step bend and the five draw, which bends but not down a half step. It's not really a musical movement there. It's just a microtonal bend, but it's a really important bend. So let me start with the five draw conversation for a minute. I'm on Facebook. I won't mention which group. I'm guessing a lot of you can figure this out. And I'm reading a post about the five draw bend and how this guy's having it doesn't matter. Well, let me give you the brief background. This guy's having an issue bending the five draw down a half step. And then everyone jumped on him and said, you can't bend it down a half step. And then I saw a bunch of comments saying you shouldn't be bending that note. You're going to ruin your harmonica. It's not true. It's just simply not true. So that was the first thing. It is a great note to bend. You can use it in multiple positions regardless. It's just a sort of an inflection that you would bring in. And even though it doesn't move a half step, guys like William Clark used it as actual note choices in his riffs, like. So I'm lifting it and hitting it as an individual note. That's the lift, and that's the bend. So it's a super useful note. And how do you keep from ruining your harmonica or having it go flat? Don't use a lot of air. That's the tip. Do not use a lot of air. That's why people are having issues because they're pushing their their harmonica beyond the limit, and so of course it's gonna have an issue or go flat. So that's that. Two half step bend, and maybe we'll get back to talking about that a little bit more. Sorry, I'm trying to find this trying to find my channel. So if there's any questions or people are here, I'm trying to do it on my phone. So let's talk about the two draw half step bend. This goes out to Bo. My buddy Bo was asking me about this, and he said, hey man, what's up with this two half step? Should I be concerned about it? Should I be using it? And I'm like, absolutely. So let me just talk about some of the big ones that come up for me. Oh, I see what's going on. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once here. Let me just play you a couple examples of how you might use it, like this. You might be lifting from like the full step bend on the two and just wanting to make it give it a bluesier sound or feel, So we're not using it in like a phrase, but we're using it as just to embellish that really kind of the full step by lifting it sharper to the half. That's a great kind of 5-chord action. Or we could lift it in first position. So just to bring in, to come out of the full step. That's the way I would first think about it. The other is in the 5-chord in second position. It's a wonderful note choice, and you should be thinking about using that over the 5-chord in second position. So there's a little bit of the half step. It's also part of that, what I just shared in the last video, the major pentatonic in third. So it's a relevant note in more than one position and in different spots on the harmonica. Now, so back to the 5-draw just for a minute. The 5-draw clean is the same as a full step bend. But why would you want to bend it? I just want to be really clear. You're bringing in the 5 draw, but you're starting on that note bent. Or you're coming down from the 5 draw sometimes into the bend. You guys have heard me play. If you listen to me play, you watch this channel, you've heard me do this a million times and work that 5 draw. Your harmonica will not go flat if you're breathing properly. So don't have the fear that you're going to ruin your harmonica. Just breathe easy and work on the technique. There are others. I feel like there's a lot of notes underutilized. The 1 draw bend. It's no different than the 4 draw bend. It's the same note. So it's a really hyper relevant note, an important note to get control over on multiple key harmonicas. That's a good note transitioning to the 4 chord, like blowing on the 1 afterwards. It's a good note to lift out of, to go to the 1 draw. Kind of a cross harp perspective is what I'm talking. And the same thing you can embellish with this bend and bring it up to the 1 draw. It's just a good note choice. 3.5-step bend, we're bending all the way down. Now, if you're playing 3rd position, you should be all over that note. But I don't think everyone is. You know, it's a scale note in the blues scale in 3rd position. And that's a gorgeous note. It's the same note as 6 draw bend. So use this note in 3rd position. Think about anytime you have used the 6 draw bend in cross harp in 2nd position, switching gears. Why aren't you doing the same potentially down on that 3? That's more 3rd position, okay. It's a good whale note on the 5 chord in 2nd position. So you can kind of bring in the 6 draw or bring in the 3 draw full. So these are notes that maybe take a little more practice getting used to, like when to bring them in, and also getting control over the note itself so that you feel like you want to bring it in and you're not afraid to go there. Besides these notes that I mentioned, I would add to the list 10 blow, half and full step. Just getting a hold of that note and feeling like confident, like you can actually start to utilize the bends that are up there. What do you do with it? Well, that's, again, more ear training, but it's a good note for 2nd position, 3rd position. First, you can use it in all these positions that most people are using. It just depends on the context, how you want to place the note. Good example is whammer jammer. Think of that full step. Hitting that note right there. It's the same note I want to say as the 3 draw half step bend. So think about how relevant that is in 2nd position. So you can just go wailing on that full step bend as a power note in 2nd. And then same thing about lifting the note too. You might be on that full step bend, but you might want to lift out of that. Something in 1st position where you're milking that. So these are, off the top of my head, these are the most underutilized bends that I see out there, or that I don't hear enough of. And I feel like big part of it comes down to just getting control over it. Like people don't have the control, so they're working on the technique perhaps. But I encourage you to find the context as well. Find a musical idea where you're going to incorporate it so it doesn't feel like a random, sort of tackling point. Hank, what's up, dude? I missed you. Thanks for hopping on, man. So, what else? The 3-hole's got 3 bends in it, so I might as well just point out that when you're working through the 3-hole, take your time. Get to have a, like I said, get context for these notes. So if it's 2nd position, like really have a moment with that 3-hole and say something with each of the bends. something where you get to play around in the 12 bar structure. We talked about this a bunch, or I feel like I've talked about it a bunch. Using the 3 draw as the 1 chord, the 3 draw half step as the 4 chord, and the 3 draw full step as the 5 chord. Something that I first heard Jason do years ago at the Rockers in the Rocky event, and it's stuck in my head ever since. Alan, you got it, man. New backdrop. I'm really enjoying this little backdrop. This is something that I had made up for my videos and my classes. So thanks for noticing. So here's what it sounds like. It's a 12 bar blues playing 3 draw, 3 half, and 3 full. Now I'm adding in chords and 2 draw and all this other root area stuff to support it, but essentially it's just, you could just hit that 3 draw as an outline, just kind of emulating the 1, 4, and 5 chord. And you're getting that workout in separation, right? You know, you can hear these notes finally as actual choices that are giving you the context for the 12 bar. These are not root notes, just to be clear, okay? They're not root notes, they're harmony notes, but they're wonderful note choices that you can use in second position. So you start playing around with it and it's like, oh, I can kind of feel and hear that outline, and then you get good at these bends, and that's the idea with that. Right on. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, what's up, Tony? You know, the 3 full step is something that just takes more context. Just there's a G harp. You're hitting that 6 draw to warm up, and then you're trying to get right to it. And I would add that, you know, it's possible, I suppose, that the 3 draw half and full step are not underutilized. They're just improperly utilized often. Like people are not able to control it, so they land on it and it's a little sharp or it's a little flat when they are trying to hit the note. That's the challenge with that hole. That's why you do these fun exercises with like the 12 bar outline, or maybe you just do that nice slow in and out. And it's good breathing exercise too. You should feel relaxed when you come out of that. If you're gonna hold a long note, you shouldn't feel like you're dying, like you're completely about to pass out. And thanks for joining that class Saturday. Appreciate you being there. Is that Lisa? Is that who that is? Who is that? Am I right? Let me know if that's you. Oh no, that's not. I see you've written your name. Lies. Did we ever figure out whether I was mispronouncing your name? Isn't your full name Lizanne? Isn't that right? Let me know. You're probably like, please don't put my name out there. All right, so my big message today is use the 5 drop bend, because that was the one that got stuck in my head. These people are like, don't use that note, you'll ruin your harp. You're not supposed to bend the 5. That's a bunch of crap. These people that are saying that probably have not studied blues, harmonica, or really listened to all the great recordings where this note is all over the place. Like Lisanne. We went through this last time, and I think I messed it up like 10 times in a row, and you kept telling me, nope, that's not right either. I just want to make sure I've hit everything I wanted to talk about. That's it. In the world of bending, you just need to go through the motions and work on each hole one at a time, get some context going, get some control going, and that's what's on my mind. If you do want to go deep into this topic, I got an entire class called the Bending Clinic, and that's something you can check out. As a recording, it comes with notes and you download it. It's just a bunch of exercises beyond what we're doing here today to get you really focused on bending. It's the most important technique outside of single notes, let's say. It's the single most important technique you're going to need for playing blues harmonica. So just become familiar with these bends, get to know them. If there's an area that's really challenging for you on the harmonica, spend more time on those notes and less time on the ones that you have control over. And be careful not to overbend these notes. That's a good tip I'll leave you with today. The notes can easily overbend. So when you're on a 3, you can go too low instead of, you can kind of push it too low. Any note could go too low. And the way to avoid that is to just relax, ease up on the breathing. All right? Trying to throw in all the notes we talked about. So thanks for hanging out today. James, that 3 full step will come to you when you're not trying to go get it too hard. And if you can get the half and or the one below it, the step and a half, use that to your advantage. So let's say you're able to get the half but not the full, slowly work on creeping the tongue back. If you're able to get that lowest bend and you're always too flat, relax the tongue and let it come forward a little bit. Just try to tweak it. Yeah, you can get the donkey sound. That's good, Pete. Yeah, so there's a comment about the 3 being, often hit it too hard and bend it when I'm trying to play a regular 3. I think, I honestly think the best advice is just to don't overdo it with the air. Start to practice bending as quietly as you can. That's the tip. So if you can, and when you're moving the note around, if you can do this legato fashion on these bends, see if you can freeze when you feel you're at the right note. Check the note, get a chromatic instrument, hear the note. That's the big thing. You got to be able to hear the note that you're trying to go for. And that's what I got today. I'll come back and do some other kind of focused topics like this. I feel like I'm better if I could just talk about one single thing at a time. Otherwise, I'm all over the map. So on that note, thanks for hanging out with me today. I do appreciate you guys being here live, and that's what I got.